All right, welcome to my first Google Hangout here. We're going to be discussing game planning today, and specifically the process we use and the tool we use, our Coach's Edge game planning system, and how that saves us a ton of time. So I want to get started here by just sharing my screen and go over I believe everybody could see that here. Let me go back to the beginning. Sorry. First of all, some things we're going to be doing here. I'm going to do a Periscope live in the mornings beginning in February. Want to invite you to join me on that, and I'll just be discussing an idea or answering questions that someone brought up. We'll do that live during the morning, 6:15 to 6:30 a.m. Plan on continuing that maybe even during the season and into when we have some of our individual period, which we practice in the morning. So we're going to continue to do these Hangouts. We'll do them on Tuesdays, 8:15 to 8:45. They could extend a little bit longer. If you haven't signed up for those already, please email me or sign up via our email. I do have a book coming out called Coaching HD, High Definition Coaching. And the book's about the best coaches and coaching methods combined with cutting edge technology to reach the heart and mind of the athlete. We're going to have a podcast in conjunction with that beginning in March. So today we're going to talk about the game planning process and all the different things that go into it. First of all, film breakdown and reporting. That's something that all of us do. We generate our reports. We spend all our time putting our data into our breakdown systems, and we want to get the best data out of there. So we're working hard to make sure that we have that right. The next step is gaining insight from that. So when we have all that, we need to really decipher it down to something that's very usable to us. What insight do we gain? Is it a down and distance that we know for sure they're going to be in, a coverage that we want to attack? Do we know when we get in certain areas of the field, they're going to use a different personnel grouping, etc.? So we gain insight, and those are things we want to start to think about when we're putting together a game plan. Next in the game planning process is putting the game plan together itself, deciding what we're going to use, when we're going to use it, what play packages, what personnel, what kind of tempos are we going to use in our game plan. From there, we have our practice plan and scripts. Usually spend a lot of time putting those together, planning our practices, and then execution on game day. So today we're going to kind of focus on the part that becomes after the film breakdown reporting and before the execution on game day. And all of that for us really means the grind. That's what we spend our time on, and that's what we're working hard on to get together and give to our players. Bear with me here. First of all, I want to make sure that this is working out right for everybody. Is anybody there able to see this? I cannot see. Let's see. Where is the screen here? Okay, there we go. We have any questions here or anything that we want to cover? I see we have 16 viewers. Everybody, can someone ask a question or put a comment in there just to let me know that this is working all right? I'm going to assume it is. Okay. So moving on here and back to the process. Go back into our PowerPoint here. Okay, we talked about these things. Thank you, Coach. I got a tweet there that we're working fine. Awesome. All right, so we have the grind. So this developed, first of all, by really studying Brian Billick and Bill Walsh. They were really the first to begin to talk about this and to start to write about it. And Brian Billick obviously wrote a great book on this. So A lot of this is what I started with those guys and then learned through talking. I will share a link later on my website where I put together game planning resources. So first of all, this is Brian Billick in an article. He says 3 things that really factor into this. First of all, the length of your practice. How much time do you have? How your practice is divided between periods, your individual, your group, your skelly, and team periods, and what aspect of the offense is practiced in each period. And I added an asterisk to this because I think this affects a lot of us now. What kind of tempo do you expect? So if it's a 5-minute period, do you expect 6, 8, or 10 reps? I know we all want to coach and get as many reps in as we can, so that's really become a factor in what we're trying to do. I always like to caution coaches and make sure that we're coaching on the field. We have the tools available to us to do that, and that, just saying, hey, we're going to watch and coach off of film, I don't know if that's a valid coaching point, because I think you become an observer. You want to be out there coaching and do it to your best of the ability. This past year, I used an instant replay app. It actually was Coach's Eye Instant Replay out on the field. I had one of my student coaches filming for me. I was the offensive line coach, so he was behind the play, and I would get that play to my iPad, have that thing right over my script, and within 5 seconds, I'm making some corrections. So really, for me, I could focus on one thing and look at a key aspect I wanted. Maybe it was the point of attack, maybe it was one player, but then go back and review and make those changes. And for the offensive line, we always looked at those out on the field. But getting back to that again, knowing what kind of reps we want to get and what we expect there really goes into how you build your practice plan and what you're able to script, really what you're able to carry into a game plan. So back to the grind. The game plan, how much of that and what goes into it. So after film breakdown, which obviously takes up our whole weekend, we get into that game planning process. So having a process, having some parameters and sticking to them helps. And that's something that our game planning system did, and I'll go into that a little bit later. We want to have all the tools that we need on game day to be sure, but we want to be sure that they can be practiced. We don't want to leave ourselves short in not being prepared in some way. Obviously, you have to cover some contingencies, whether that might be an injury to a key player, whether that might be how the weather might affect the game and what the report looks like. Those things definitely affect the game. Also, as I'm going on here, I'm not seeing anything on my screen come up as far as questions. You can also use Twitter. I have the app open right in front of me. So if you want to tweet some things at me, that's fine as well. I assume everybody is seeing the screen. If somebody could give me that thumbs up on that, I'll keep going here. Okay, and then knowing what we want to do in all situations. I think situational football is undercoached. I think having a plan in situations sometimes is undercoached. I think it's useful to the players to let them know, okay, when we get in this situation, in this area of the field, these are the things that we're looking at. But part of that and getting all that information is, again, we take a lot of time and going through and planning and scripting and putting together practices and focusing on just getting that practice together, that we do lose some coaching time and the ability to put things together for our players. So this was our game plan formula and a template that I used, and I started building this template in 2004. I started using Excel as my game planning template, and I had learned how to use this actually working for a manufacturing company all through college, and it was our sales and production tool. So I really learned how to use all the functions of it and thought, hey, I could use this right now to put together a game plan. So again, this formula kind of comes from learning the Billick and Walsh system, but again, thinking about what we needed on a game day. So base inside runs, we would plan 6 of those, and I'll go over that in a second because that doesn't seem like a lot. And these are the number of calls. So perimeter runs, 2 to 4. Run checks, those would be runs that we were maybe going to run away from a certain defender, or we were going to run to, a certain technique on the defensive line. Let's say a 3 technique, we want to run our outside zone to it. Third down runs, game planning 2 to 4 of those. Our coming out plan and 4-minute plan, really carrying both of those in there. And, what we thought of that is basically we want to be in some very conservative plays. We want to protect the ball. We want to protect the edges. Usually, if we can, with our personnel, create an extra gap and a wider edge so we don't have somebody coming into the backfield and making a tackle for a loss. Our 2-point plays, goal line plays, 2-point plays. Our goal line plays usually carry it over, and we run a certain package throughout the season. We might tweak it or add a wrinkle here or there. Then getting into the passing game, quick and play action, we plan 8 of those. Drop backs or sprint out pass, 8. Screens will fit 2 in. Getting into our third downs, which we do look to carry over, obviously, some of that passing game. We're looking at extra long. We plan 2. That's 10 or more yards to go. Third and long, 7 to 9 yards. We plan 3. Third and medium, which we end up in more often. We're going to plan 6 plays in the 3 to 6 yard range. And third and short, we're going to have 1 to 2 plays, including runs and 2 passes. Getting into the red zone, then, we want to think about how space is starting to be constricted. And we're looking then at 2 pre-red zone shots. A good time to take a shot is when you get into that 4-down territory and you have 4 downs. And Andrew Coverdale gave me a great way to think about this is when you have 4 downs is that on one of those downs you're going to take a shot. Okay, the other ones you just treat as your regular first or second down. You get into a different mentality there. Red zone 25 to 18, we'll use 3. 17 to 12, we'll use 3. 11 to 8, we'll use 3. And then the other things start to fit into our goal line passes. So base inside runs. The question I always get is, Coach, we carry more than 6 runs. And my answer is, so do we. But I think of it this way. When I script those in practice, I'll actually put extra formations into those. And I'll make sure that I either build them into the call sheet on game day, or I slide in a couple extra slots to make sure those get called in there. We're gonna call our runs, but we're gonna think about them this way: that we're gonna get a certain look in the box. So it doesn't matter as long as there's no variation in the defense. We know they're going to align a certain way. For example, we could be in a set like this. You see an I formation with the tight end to the right. We could also be in a twin set. And as long as the defense really isn't doing anything different in the box, we're going to treat those the same as far as a practice rep. Our guys inside are going to work those runs, and really it doesn't matter what's happening on the perimeter or behind on level 3 for them. We'll obviously have to think about how we might want to handle that with some play action passes. But as far as the run and the blocking scheme and who they're going to be assigned to, we think of those the same way. So it does allow us to build a little bit more into our game plan. In the passing game, we want to find as much carryover as we can with little or no variation. So maybe we do add a formation or a shift. Maybe it's just a little bit different in the formation, or potentially even in a personnel group. But really what we're focused on here is execution over having more plays. Plays need to be repped over and over. Really, it's, for that quarterback, especially as you get towards the red zone. The adjustments down there need to be very consistent in how those routes are run. You're running out of space, and it's critical that you get people in the right place at the right time, and those things get calibrated. Okay, so from there, we have our game plan, film breakdown, our game plan and how much goes into it, and then scripting practice is part of the grind. So we get done with the game plan, we have our list of plays. Now we have to start placing them in a script. So how much does each play get scripted throughout the week? And I believe if you're doing this right, you're really keeping track of that. And that's really what adds time to this process. If you're keeping track of how many times you've run a play, what defenses you've run it against, now you're really spending a lot of time on your script. And for me, I used to do that. I used to spend hours trying to put this together, make sure our guys were prepared in every situation, and that they knew what was going to happen on game day. So how much is each play worked against their defense is an important thing, and how much are the plays repped, so it should be repped there, in situations that they're used. So really getting back to that situational football and making sure that, if we're working our third downs, that the sticks are out there and we're working hard on getting our first downs and converting. Again, all of those take hours during the week. And then the call sheet. So you get towards the end of the week, the scripting starts to disappear, but you have to put together your call sheet, right? Base calls, situational calls. You want it easily organized. You want it to be right in front of your eyes and be used to seeing a consistent format so you can make the calls on game day. Got it. Coach, let me see. It says something's disabled here. Not a problem. Hold on 1 second. Bear with me again. The first time I'm doing this here. Let me go back to the Hangout. And this might be okay. Not the screen. I got it. I'd rather see the screen too. Let me see. Why is that not working? Screen share. Okay, let me try one more time here, especially when I get into this game plan sheet. Okay. Start the screen share. Present to everyone. All right, I think we got it there. You guys see the screen now? Okay, I believe everybody could see that. We good? All right, got it, Coach. Can you see it, Mark? Yep. All right, here we go. Thank you. Sorry about that. You didn't miss a ton there. I was going through and explaining the different parts of the game planning process. So here we go. I'll play this again. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. All right, Coach Banks. So going through, and this is the last slide in here. It goes into now. There we go. Can I get that? I want to get on this last slide right here, but it's not doing it for me. Hold on 1 second. And I should be able to play this. All right. Well, moving on. What we're looking at here then really is how much goes into the game plan. So this presentation isn't working for me. I do want to pull up another screen here. And what we did then is we created a template. I apologize again, guys. And come back to this for 1 second. So what we did was we created a template and put it together in Excel. And that's what we've been offering on the Coach's Edge website. The thing that I really am passionate about here is helping coaches. So whether it's the game planning systems, which I feel we're offering for a very fair price, or if it's our books loaded with details, loaded with video, we give you way more than you're going to get really in any other type of product. So we're working on converting that library. A lot of what we had is in iTunes. That's going to be converted over to our library sold off of our website, which will allow you to view that on any device and also share that across your different platforms. So if you have, let's say, an Android phone, you could purchase it on your phone. It could appear on your laptop or PC, or if you have an iPad, it'll go to the iPad. So we're working hard on doing those types of things. And really, I saw this being offered, something similar for a subscription, and I really felt, there's a lot we can spend our money on in our budget that is a better use than spending a subscription on a tool that I could teach you to build. So not only is the plan to offer you some great templates and something to start with here, but I'm going to work on and put together, actually have been working on and putting together a customization manual for you. So if you wanted to build something from scratch, you could go ahead and do that. I'm going to show you every step you need to take to do it. Of course, this took me several hours to put this together. I would say it's at least 20 hours of work. So I'm saving you a lot of that work and giving you a template, and I'll show you how to adjust it and customize it for your own use. So let's get into that template and let's talk a little bit more. I'll get into the game plan and some of the things I covered in the PowerPoint presentation that nobody saw. And I will post the presentation on my website so you can go to that. And again, I apologize. This is the first time I'm doing this Google Hangout. So let's go back to the screen share here, and we're going to take a look at the game planning system. Okay, so what we have here is what I call the game plan board. And that name comes from Walsh's system, where he had what he called his game plan board as well, and that's where all the plays that you're going to run get entered. So what we have in that, let's see, can't get this working for me. Okay, there we go. All right, I got to go underneath here. So what I have here as I scroll across is our game plan board, and you see that it has left hash plays and right hash plays. And then to the right here, you have practice, play, rep, info, okay? These areas of the game plan really just tell you where things are going to be practiced. They give you your total reps. I also reflect that back in that column. I do think it's very important that a play receives a certain amount of reps, but I also believe as you're practicing throughout the week that you work your fundamentals and skills, and then really when you get into your small group or even still in your individual period, you're working the different scenarios that your players are going to face, and you're building your drills off of that. You're building things that are relevant to the things that your players are going to see on game day and happen in the game. So there's going to be, over the course of the season, you have the cumulative effect of those reps being practiced over and over, and you're going to get better at the things that you do, and hopefully, stay focused on a set of plays. I've gone to basically a concept-based system. So we have our run concepts and we have our pass concepts. I've never used more than 5 of each, but in those 5, there's so much flexibility to tag things that we can adjust it to be different things, but we have that base of learning built on the concept and the execution, again, over and over the same concepts. So we're going to plan our base inside runs. And in this, I did build in a place for tempo. It's become part of our play call. Personnel, we do use multiple personnel groups. And again, I'll show you how to customize this in the manual that I release, and that's free to anybody who buys the system. And I'll send information out about that. Wristband, we use wristbands to communicate our plays, the play call, and then you have room to script defenses here. Your time in putting together your scripts, your call sheets, everything really just goes into filling out this game plan board. What is offered within the system is that you have, in addition to the game plans, you have a printable worksheet. So if you wanted to print this out, have your coaches work on a certain section of it, bring it back, and you can all type that in. That's something you can do. Okay, so going back to our game plan board, what we start to do then is fill those tempos out. So our base tempo, we just called it run it. Our personnel used NFL teams formation, rep 0. We'll go no motion on this play, and we'll go power right. I'm sorry, we'll tag the F into the power. So we'll go F power right. And let's say we want to work this against an over Sam walk cover 4. Okay, on day 1. Let's say on day 2, we want to work it against some movement. So let's go over Sam walk, Will 3, over 5. Don't worry if it goes over the space, that's fine. You can't obviously expand those so you can see the whole thing, but it's not going to affect how it prints out. And on day 3, maybe we just want to go back to the base call. So over Sam walk, cover 4. Okay. We'll have to put in the opposite of the play or the reverse of the play. So we got tempo is run it, Brown, Liz 1, no motion. We got F, power left. And the defenses, again, we went over, Sam walk, cover 4. We just have a simple system for identifying our defense over. Sam walk, Will 3, cover 5, and over, Sam walk, cover 4. Okay, so what starts to happen as I'm doing this is we go back to our first script here, and you see our inside runs. The script is starting to be filled out. Okay, so I have that already in practice 1. There it is, scripted in practice 2. We got some of those in team, and I believe we even have some scripted. No, they don't appear on not that particular one in practice 3. Wasn't scripted for them, but I already have it scripted. That play 5 times. And I believe that's what we had. Yep, we had 5 reps for the week. Okay. What we, the defenses, what we thought about here is, we want to make sure that we're running the defenses we're going to see. When we start with a game plan, we always want to start with what we know for sure. We always want to build around some things we're going to be relatively sure of. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to use something exactly that another team did, but we might have something that looks like that and we feel confident in attacking a certain look. We know what alignment we're going to get. We can be fairly certain that they're going to align a certain way. So we want to, be able to attack something that we know, and then we're going to build it off of there. So our run game especially, we're going to look at those types of things and how we might build them. Okay, any questions for me so far before I continue on here into the different sections? Everybody good? I don't see, let's see, Twitter. All right, looks like we're all fine. Okay, so moving on back to our game plan board and going down here. I'm not going to fill all this out for you. I'll show you what one looks like. I'll pull that up in a minute. What we have in this one, this is the standard one. We have an up-tempo, and we have one for two-way player. And really the difference comes in the size of the game plan board and the amount of plays you can script. And that's really built on, again, going back to what Brian Billick said, is the amount of time that you have and the amount of periods you have in the practice. So knowing that you have a certain amount of periods, you're only going to have so many plays, and really you can't go too thin on your reps. You want to be able to get some of those things in there. So moving down the list, we have run checks or additional run repeat. I have a section for those, and you see the differences in color. And I color-coded it, and this is explained in the manual. The gray ones here are basically built for group periods, meaning that they're inside run. They might appear in team as well. And if you want to know exactly where they're appearing as you're looking at this, again, we scripted 2 in team for practice 2, and of these base runs, and we got them here. So we're really going to work those in our inside run period. Though I've done some different things over the course of time. Inside run became a little bit loaded. We wanted to ease up on just the pure, run fit without any keys by the linebackers and the guys, trying to fit their runs and not reading a key. So we did build those into a full team period and go run, play action, maybe even a screen, or even a play action shot built in, just to keep the defense honest and to give us an honest look on those types of things. But primarily, these will be run in an inside run period. Our run checks, we're going to put those into a team period. We want the quarterback to look at the whole picture. Sometimes it does involve more than just looking at the box. You might need to look at alignment of a safety, etc. So if we have run checks in, we'll build them in right there. Or we can choose to repeat some runs. Maybe it's our top runs. Maybe it's a couple we want to get more reps for. We'll build them into this section here. Okay. Base perimeter draws or third down runs. So if you have perimeters, you can put them here. The reason they're in team, again, is because, if we're getting to the outside, we want safety support. We want the other players are going to get involved in the play, so they're built into this period. And you can continue to use these for perimeter runs or third down runs. We do think sometimes even of our perimeter runs more of a third down run and trying to get out in space. So we'll put those in here. And maybe you have one special here and you build that extra rep in. Okay, we have a section for coming out in 4 minute. And sometimes we'll fill them in with all runs. If we want to just play it conservative, we might go a play action and medium or even a third and long shot from coming out. And, I think that's a good area to take a shot. We also think of this section, though, for our 4 minute offense. And we're going to borrow from some of our base inside runs, some of our best plays here, things we're good at executing. Yeah, Coach Holcomb, you are eligible for that new manual as well. That's going to be sent out to anybody who's purchased it. So coming out here, third downs for that, we want to game plan those and think of those. A lot of times we're going to build a package right there where maybe we add an extra player into the box to add an extra gap, to widen the edge, make sure we don't have somebody skinning off the edge to make a tackle for a loss. That's where we're in critical situations as far as moving the ball, keeping the clock running, or getting out from the shadow of our own goalpost. Then the goal line section is put here too. This is also in a team period. We have a separate team period set aside for goal line on Tuesdays. You certainly could shift around and go situational first if you wanted to get your goal line period in on a earlier in the week because you feel there's a little bit more banging down there. For us, tempo really didn't change in the practice of how we were, fitting up and running to the ball, et cetera. So we put this on our situational day, which is our second practice of the week. But we're going to have 4 goal line plays there. We'll also use those for our short yardage package. And if we're backed up, like on the 1 yard line, we'll get into those too. So we do try to carry over and get multiple use out of different components of our game plan, different components of our offense, because we want to be efficient in how we practice. And there's only so much time. So that's how we use our goal line package. Okay, getting into the pass section. You see these are coded as team periods. And this is a space for play action, quicks, or screens. Again, for us, play action and quicks protect the run game. Obviously, it's kind of ineffective to do play action in a 7-on-7 and quick game. I think there's better things you can work than throwing hitches and slants out in 7-on-7. But if that's the bulk of what you do, this is where you start to script some of that in 7-on-2. So you have, in this particular template, you have 6 plays to plan. In our template for the up tempo, I think we had 8 here. And we also had 8 drop back. Here you have 6 drop back. So those plays being repped with more rest being given to the plays up top. We feel a little bit more confident about using and ones that you're a little bit better at or you want to get better at. So we put those up towards the top that are getting more reps. Now, as the season goes on, we might become more confident in some of these plays as we accumulate those reps on those concepts, and maybe those slide up for more of a focus there. Getting into our red zone and third down, so our situational passing game, we really look to borrow from these sections here. A lot of these right here can be used for third and medium or even third and short plays. A lot of these here can be your third down, and those can extend from third and extra long all the way down to third and medium. So we're going to try to carry over as much as we can. Now, as we get closer, we have to adjust. We might carry some of these drop back plays, but now adjust a route or two because we're running out of space. As much as we can, I said we're going to try to carry these over. So pre-red zone, 35 to 25. These also go into our call sheet as third down and 1 to 2 shots. So these are kind of our play action shots or fully protected shots. That's what we think about in this area. We feel it's a good opportunity when we get into 4-down territory to be able to take those kinds of shots. And again, thinking about having 4 downs, knowing that you're using all 4, maybe that shot comes on first down, and then you think in terms of first, second, and third on the remaining 3 downs. Red zone 25 to 18. We're going to put 2 in this particular template, 2 of those plays in here. 17 to 12. Again, vertical space being restricted, we're going to have 2 of those. And red zone 11 to 8. Coverages start to get adjusted down here. We'll work 2 of those calls. Goal line passes, now we're working maybe against pure man inside from 7 and in, or maybe it's lanes coverage or squeeze coverage, you know, different names for it. We'll work against those there. Okay, then our third down package. In this particular template, for third and extra long, we plan 1. Third and long, which is going to be 7 to 9 yards, we're going to plan 2. Third and medium, we'll plan 4 in this area. So in the up tempo, I believe it gives you room for 6. And then we're going to have 2 2-point plays that we work. And we kind of start working those in camp, and we have basically a menu of plays and a menu of plays that we'll use in 2 points, and we'll kind of work through those. Coach Holcomb had a question: can this be made into a Google Doc to be shared with the staff? And the answer to that is I believe yes. You can use it in Google Docs. It should carry over all of your formulas that are in here. I haven't done it before, but I would check on that to make sure. But to my knowledge, yes, you can use that in Google Docs. Okay, so as a staff, you know, we went through our breakdown. We took a look at all the things that go into our game plan. We gained insight from it. We decided on the plays we wanted to run. We put them into this game planning sheet. For us at the college level, this would be Sunday work right here. This was Monday work right here. Okay, so we're working on our base plan first. Looking at, I'm sorry, not the top. We're looking at our base inside runs all the way through our perimeter runs. Then we're going into these plays right here. Okay, and that's it. That's what we did first. We got those plays in. We would rep those in our first practice. Again, trying to carry over as much as we can in the second practice, but making it situational and working on that second part of the game plan. So we'd fill in this part the first day. We'd fill in the remaining cells on the next day, and we're done. Okay, so if on Monday for a Tuesday practice, I have those filled in, those sections I showed you. This will all be filled out. It'll include the defenses here that we're going to run against it. I do actually, on my own templates, I have a card number here as well, so we can have the cards in order, and then the team as well. Okay. Once, again, going back to the game plan board, that second day, we also fill everything else out. We're done. Once this board is filled out, you're finished for the week as far as scripting and drawing up a call sheet. So it's going to give you your practice 2. You see in practice 2, we have the top 6 runs. In this particular template, which is a standard 2-platoon template, we're going to get 6 basically in a 10-minute period is what's scripted for. Okay. We have our 7-on-7 here. You see we're working through different situations, downs and distances, working from different hashes. Okay, I have a section in here labeled team. You can do this one. This would be a cell you fill in manually. Okay, you might decide, you know, where you want your second team working in here, or maybe you're going to repeat a section of the script for them when they get in. You know, people do it different ways. So this is just a cell for you to indicate first or second team. Okay, we have our goal line period. I said that was going to be a separate team period. We're going to get 10 reps there. And then we're going to get our third downs and work in the red zone. And as I mentioned several times, carrying over as much as we can. Okay, so getting into this area here, you see on first down in 10, we're still using some of our first down calls here in the red zone. And we're carrying those things in. Practice 3, we pull out the inside run here. Usually for us, this is shells, so we're not going to bang inside as much. We're going to get a 7-on-7 period in. We're going to work some of the base. We're going to work some of the third downs. We'll review our goal line period. This is usually done, actually, we did that during our special teams, when we had some of, mostly our line and compressed sets, so we worked that there, but you could work it in a team period as well. It's important to us. We get to that finish zone, we got to be able to get in the end zone. These are plays, like I said, we like to carry the whole year and potentially just dress them up a little bit, but we want to get good at executing them. And then basically what you have are two simulated drives moving down the field, working in certain areas. So we'll start coming out right here, work some of that. Again, that would apply to 4 minute. We get those reps in there, whether it's coming out or 4 minute. Our players know that these plays are used for the same thing. Starting to move out of our own end zone, getting down the field, okay, driving all the way down into the scoring zone. We don't go all the way back into the goal line here. We've already reviewed it, but we get 25 reps in there. This does get your wristband put together for you. So back to the call sheet, there's the game plan board. Okay, if you want your quarterback to have a wristband with all the plays on it, this is where you get those. So this is a quarterback wristband in the customization manual. I'll show how you could use Excel to build some different types of wristbands as well. So we have the wristband being developed here. This is designed for a triple pane. So here, this would be all the base calls. Okay, all our base calls appearing on this call sheet here. You see the ones that I typed in automatically appearing on the call sheet. And then our third down wristband, our third down call sheet, and our situational wristband and situational calls right here. Okay, all this is filled out automatically. The only thing you're ever filling out is this one board here called the game plan board. You fill all this out, it's going to script the rest for you, and everything will be done. I have the worksheets here printed out for you that you could go through as a staff, maybe work separately, work on those things, either type them in. This will not convert over, with everybody working. I might use this, and coach said, can we use it in Google Docs? Yeah, do it in Google Docs, and if you assign different parts of that, coaches can put those right into the game plan board. A sheet for your openers. We like to script at least 10. I've gone as deep as 25. Bill Walsh believed in scripting 25 and fighting the war in the office rather than out on the field. So he wanted it in the cool of the office rather than the heat of game day. But you can use this to fill out your openers, and then it gives you a post-game report too. So all it does here is it's going to give you your plays. So you see that you scripted this, and this will also then, you don't have to necessarily fill out every single cell with a different call. You might repeat a call. So let's say it's this, drop back, and I'm only working, let's say 5 dropbacks that week. I can put as 5 and 6, maybe 1 and 2 go in there as well. But anyway, what it does, it'll put the call in here for you automatically. You can put, the number called to the left here, number called from the right going off your call sheet, and it gives you your total times you used it and the times you practiced it. So it gives you an idea of, what did we use, what didn't we use? And some of these might only be called once, some might be zeros. I think what you have to be cautious of is how many zeros do you have appearing on your call sheet. Some of them have to be in your game plan. You have to cover yourself for the situations. You may not have ended up in it. Maybe you don't get into much goal line. Maybe it's, you're down there for one play and you score, so you didn't get a chance to use all of those things. But you're getting down to quality control and understanding, are we scripting efficiently? Are we scripting too much? Can we go ahead and repeat some of these calls in here? And that's something that you have to decide. And that's why a system like this gives you the flexibility to design it how you want. The important thing is to know, where you're getting these things. I had a school, Willoughby South here in Cleveland, which was one of the top offenses in the area. They used this. I went out there and helped them customize it. They wanted to add, on practice 3, they wanted to add another inside run. So we just put that in there. We pulled from their script. We adjusted everything. It was really easy. I have, Andrew Coverdale uses this. He's the offensive coordinator at Trinity High School in Louisville, Kentucky. They've been the state champs a number of times here in recent years. he's used it as well. And, Andrew said what this allows him to do is really wrap his mind more around some other things like how's he going to coach his players? What are the things he needs to get them to learn in the best way? And, the same thing that Scott said at Willoughby South was that now he's actually got more into, looking at what is the defense really doing, what things do I need to work against, and getting his offense to work against a little bit more movement and blitzes, which he hasn't been able to do in the past. He spent so much time on putting his scripts together and ensuring that he got his practice reps that they didn't get very far away from running it against base defenses. So really does allow you for more time and the ability to look at some different things within, your game plan. On the other side, we're getting towards the end of this one. I'll gladly do the defensive side. Let me pull it up real quick and just give you a look at what's on the defensive side. Do we have some defensive guys out there looking at this tonight? We can spend another day going through it. We're getting towards the end of the hour here. Let me see. Let's go back to screen share. Let's see, where is my defensive one? I've got to pull one up here. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so here's how it works with defense. Okay. In the defense, you're going to fill out two sections. So you're going to go through and think about what the opponent is doing. And I believe we're looking at a two-platoon version of this here. So again, two-platoon gives you the ability to work against more, have more reps in practice, maybe even have a bigger call sheet. So you're putting this together basically like we just talked about for the offense, and you're filling out the yellow sections here. So you're going to go through, this is what you want to work. Again, you don't necessarily have to have all different calls for this. You might say, these are the top 3 runs we're working against. We're going to put them here. We're going to repeat them here. That's fine. You're going to get extra reps for them. The important thing, though, is you don't want to leave any of these blank, whether it's offense or defense, because it'll show up as a blank on your script. So repeat a call. That's the recommendation. But it goes through and gives you all those situations, the same one we just talked about. Why? Because primarily that's how offensive coordinators think about the game. So it gives you ability to work against them in the way that they're going to think about it. Okay, then it's your turn. You're going to put your calls in. So on the left here, you got your weekly reps. IR means inside run, 7-on-7 team, and a total. So you see 3, 3, 4 for call 1. Right here, you're going to fill out call 1. Maybe it's Pirate, cover 5. Okay. Most teams, don't need a left and a right like the offenses do. Maybe in a third down, your call is, I'm trying to think of what defensive coach I met with yesterday, Jay Lum at Amherst, was thinking about, what did he tell me? Razor 4. Okay. Oh, man. I'm not spelling today. Razor 4. Okay. And again, as you go into your call sheets, okay, you see that here's Pirate cover 5. It comes up a number of times right there in the first day. Pirate cover 5. Okay, the different things we're working. Practice 2. There it is coming up again. Practice 3. Okay, there's the calls that we put in. And again, they're matched to the situations. We put in Razor 4 and a 3rd and long. There it is in 3rd and 8. So it'll match the offense's calls in those situations with your calls in those situations. So this is situationally based. Now, the other version of this that we have also puts in personnel groups. So at the college level, a lot is done looking at what personnel is going into the game and making calls based on that. So it adds really a tier to this that allows you to take a look at the personnel going into the game and make your call based on personnel and situations. So the end result, though, is, again, it goes back to all these practices are filled out for you, and you have your game day call sheet. Now, very simple in how it's organized. Again, whether you want to change the colors, you want to add logos to this, I'm going to show you how to do all those things. And really, again, going back to offensive game plan board is understanding that all this can be customized as well. You are not tied to what it says here. This is the suggestion on what to put in that area because it's used in inside run. You might face, an option team and have to use basically even into the pass period some runs, some runs. What you want to do is make sure anytime you're doing that is those are scripted in periods where there's going to be teams. So getting into and taking away from some of these and maybe putting their play action into your 7-on-7, or possibly you might even practice a little bit different that week when you're facing a team like that. What kind of questions do you have for me before we shut this down? Any questions, coaches? Okay, the last thing I'd like to mention then is just because I really like this app. I've used a ton of workarounds in my career. But one that I really like, I hung out with these guys at the AFCA convention, and they let me hang out at their booth and talk some ball. So, I took a look at this Just Play solution. I'll tell you, it is a great thing. We were using it today, something we use. I've had so many workarounds to try to give my players an interactive playbook. If you've read my stuff online, you know that's something that I work on very hard in getting our players their information in a way they learn it. So, yeah, Coach, this is the same thing that American Football Monthly was selling. It's the same one. Different templates, though. I've given different templates than what we've had there. Okay, so playbook building. This diagramming tool I was using with my quarterback coach today. And he said, what was that stuff we were using last year to draw? And this is, his second day of using it. And I gave him the name. I won't say it here. He said, yeah, that was garbage. This is the best thing I've ever seen. Guys who've used Visio, they've said this is like Visio on steroids. I mean, it's an unbelievable drawing tool, so easy to learn. We are flying through recreating our playbook in this. It's interactive learning. That's the best thing. This is interactive learning tools built on your playbook. So players are getting this. They're getting the diagram. They're getting the video in a window right next to it. They have, when you look at it, they have some additional information there. The diagramming, game installs, scouting reports, the integration of video. And this is actually one of my favorite features because we were using, a long time ago was using paper. Then we were trying to use our video system with paper. Then we were using, a classroom app on the phone so we could get some analytics. And this puts everything in there. So it's good stuff. I recommend you check them out. You can email Austin at justplayss.com or go to the contact info here. Or if you want, shoot me your email and I'll get it over to them. I want to thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I apologize for the early on technical difficulties and you not being able to see my screen. I will share that out with you, put it on my website. And if there's anything else you need, please, feel free to ask. If you go to the website, one last thing I'll share with you here. Go to our website. It is, let's see, I'm going to pull it up here. Okay, thecoachesedge.com. If you go to our store, right below, game planning systems will come up, and we have all the different options right here. Right now, you get $20 off by entering the code 2016EDGE. That's in our blog. If you look up not too far down in the blog, or if you go into Coaching HD or Technology, you could get that for $20 off. It's a one-time code, so someone said, well, it's cheaper, you're not saving me money, but it was a one-time code. It's $59.99 if you get the two-way player, $29.99 if you get one side of the ball. If you get a template and it's not what you need, you feel maybe you needed the other one, please just let me know and we'll make it right. I'm here to work for coaches, help you out, give you some tools that are going to, allow you to coach your players better. Our game's in danger, so anything we can do to make this game better, I think, is important. And that's the mission behind my company. Again, check out our store, our other products. Our guys have put together some great stuff. I'm excited about, what we have going on with a Coach of the Year manual. Make on that soon. There'll be a press release on that, as well as just some great content coming in from great high school coaches, small college coaches around the country. And, my mission is to help them on their side of it too. I'm able to give our guys, with the model that we've set up, I'm able to pay them double really what anybody else is getting. So I feel it's important. If you want to share your information, you're going to a clinic, you want something to put out there for, the people following you, let us help you develop it and partner with you. We're going to have a lot of exciting announcements here in the coming weeks. And I look forward to doing some more of these with you in the near future. Again, thanks to everybody, and I will be in touch soon. I'll be putting out another one next week. I think we're going to focus on tempo and the different tempo tools in an offense. I'd also like to hear from you. So if there's things you'd like, tweet them at me, DM me, email me, whatever you want. Get a hold of me, and we'll work on getting those topics out there for you. Good night.